What's up, everybody? This week on Thursday Night Live, we're going to talk about a scenario with a driver. We're going to talk about the stocks real quick. We're going to talk about drone delivery real quick. We're going to talk about the economics reality test and the states that will be facing it. I have them all on a list. We're going to get into that more on Monday, but we're going to go through it enough. And then Sean's got some explosive news on something that I don't want to touch on to it yet. It's like a grenade. If I do, it'll get started right now. And then last but not least, we'll be summarizing up two new things on illegal accounts, believe it or not, and new methods that they're doing for this crap. So right on the other side, you guys, and we'll be there.
Executives discovered that many customers are apparently purchasing footlong sandwiches and eating the entire 12 inches by themselves. A spokesperson for the company addressed reporters this morning.
This is not how our products are intended to be consumed. Our footlong subs have always been meant to be shared among 2 or more friends. Eating an entire foot of food shouldn't be possible for most people. But they've been doing it somehow, and it needs to stop.
To encourage healthier eating habits, Subway is clarifying its marketing, adjusting language on menus and in television commercials like this one.
$5 footlongs? Wow, that's $2.50 per person.
Subway's corporate leadership says they were horrified to learn of the misunderstanding.
It's honestly frightening. I mean, you don't see people eating entire pizzas by themselves. We even cut the footlongs in half into 2 regular-sized sandwiches before handing them to you. But I guess that wasn't clear enough.
And of course, this story comes on the heels of other fast food restaurants clearing up their own marketing campaigns. A new Burger King commercial shows the Chicken Club sandwich as it was intended to be eaten, slowly and in small bites throughout an entire day. And just last week, Taco Bell
headlight, blindly on a rainy night, steep grade up ahead, slow me down and making no time. I gotta keep it rolling. Those windshield wipers slapping out the tempo, break the broken rhythm with the song on the radio. I gotta keep it rolling. Ooh, I'm driving my life away.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Thursday Night Live. I got Sean here with me. CO Ride Guy at CO Ride Guy. Just nail it every time though.
You got it now, man.
So Sean and I are going to be with you guys here for the next hour. It's like a piecemeal thing, but it's not like a last minute piecemeal thing. It's some big pieces that are going to kind of lead into other things, I'm sure. But we're going to get through a decent amount tonight. So, welcome everybody on all the platforms. We are on LinkedIn, we are on Twitter, and we are on 2 YouTubes. So welcome everybody. And I can see, I'm having to do this a little ghetto style, but I can see that on LinkedIn it's on and 2 people are watching. I'm having to look over here on this other thing. So LinkedIn, welcome. If anybody on LinkedIn can comment, we've seen the Twitter comments come in. We've seen the YouTube ones from both of our feeds, but we have not seen a LinkedIn one come in yet. Just curious. So if you guys are leaving them, that's why I've got it open, because afterwards I'm going to check, and if any were left and we don't see them, I'll know that that's a StreamYard thing, which would not shock anybody. Sorry, StreamYard.
You merge that chat like you did before.
Oh yeah.
Can you merge the chat and put it in there?
Yeah.
I think people really like that.
So
I know my 2 viewers like to see what was going on everywhere.
No, I mean, this should always be here. Wait, why is it not on the? Here we go.
There it is.
Wait, should we do?
That's awesome.
Or like this. Sean and I are old, so this probably, and we're looking on a smaller screen on a computer. You'd be surprised. You don't get the whole computer screen to see what you're working with. Do you guys like this? Or is this better for y'all? I don't want it to be overbearing, but that's what's on there right now is medium. If you guys think it should be larger, then Then
know. Let's not go with the whole foot longs. You know, let's
yeah, actually, good point. So the first thing that I want to do, oh, hey, welcome back, you man. I haven't seen you in a while, and you are proven the only way to make changes in the gig economy. Yeah, that is where we're at. It shouldn't have hit. Look, I think that if we could go back in the Wayback Machine, and thank you very much, by the way, for the super chat. I think if we could go way back in the time machine, all of us, even Sean and I, would say we don't want legislation. But these companies, look at nobody's like wants it in the beginning. If you can make it work without it, great. But the problem is that everybody lied. Everybody lied. The companies lied. The states lied. The lawmaker. Everybody lied, and nobody really knew what was going on. That's the bottom line. And they let it go too long. And then these companies went public. Now these companies are regulated by the FTC, but they're not regulated by anything else. So I mean, there is a need at this point to correct things. And it sucks because, yes, a lot of people argue to me that, and I don't know how you feel, Sean, but this is America. They should be able to operate. They should, but the space hasn't been defined well enough. And they're getting away with all corporations can be shady, of course. I'm not going to name them all because there's too many. But at least it's easier to catch them with their regulatory laws that we don't have yet. We're starting to get them, but
yeah, I'm with you, man. There's enough government overreach as there is, but I always say if there's an industry that needs some oversight, it's the rideshare and other gig economy industries, because they're getting the workers are getting slaughtered.
Yeah, I mean, I look, and none of us want it. None of us want regulation,
right?
And that's why a lot of people still sing that song. I don't want regulation. To those people, I think you're not realizing that without it at this point, believe it or not, it's going to get worse. So very luckily, sadly, these words don't seem to go together well, but sadly, very luckily, we're going to get some regulation. It will stop the hemorrhaging. It will, and it depends on the state and what happens and a lot of different factors, but it will help in the long run, even if it's just like some of the states looking at capping markets now.
Right.
I mean, these are real things. I mean, who's listening to this podcast? Yeah, nobody listens. My ass, dude. Dropping our ideas like left and right, man. But before we go anywhere, I did have an update. You guys listen. If this can find a power supply and a way to carry 4 passengers, this eVTOL is ready to go right now.
On this episode of Tweaker Geographic, in a rare display of improvised aviation behavior, we observe Unk positioned low to the ground in a rigid planking stance, as if preparing for takeoff from an unseen runway, a small fan strapped to his back, whirring like a makeshift engine. His eyes are wide and alert, scanning the horizon with urgency, while his jaw moves continuously and his tongue flicks out as he mutters rapid, fragmented flight checks under his breath, fully immersed in the role of pilot, holding his form with intense focus as though awaiting clearance from an invisible control tower, the tension building as he remains perfectly braced, convinced that liftoff is imminent.
So the 2 biggest challenges being there's no power supply, but that one could be easy. You could put a couple on his legs, hook them into the fan, and then how does he carry 4 passengers? That's the real one.
Box fan 1, this is ATC. You're clear for takeoff.
So, I mean, do you agree with that? That guy's close, right? He's about as close as Archer and the other ones.
One person hangs on to one arm, one person hangs on to another arm, and the other 2 grab the 2 legs. They're 4 passengers right there, man. You're not thinking within the box. You're staying within the box fan, not out there.
Oh man, I just had to play that. By the way, you guys, if you are on TikTok, that is one of the funniest channels on earth.
Yes.
Like, I don't often say about a TikTok channel, you got to see this one these days. Like those days have kind of gone.
Right.
There are some. This is one. You should be. I mean, every time I log on, it's a new one too, and it's something random as can be.
It's on Instagram also for those that are anti-TikTok.
I mean,
Yeah, one of my
it
favorite
really
channels.
is funny.
Yeah.
But so, okay. First scenario here. And now, look, everybody needs to weigh in on this. I want to make sure that, okay, so here we go. An Uber passenger gets into a car with a driver. Well, let's go right to the text of it, because I think that if I go to the overview, you guys are going to kind of get some, it's going to break the suspense a little. So let's see this. So, an Uber driver got a surprise hours after dropping off two passengers he picked up from a reptile show. According to the Facebook post shared by the Exeter or Township Police Department on Saturday, April 4th, officers were called to a home of in Berks County after the driver found a live ball python in the trunk of his vehicle. The driver had a rough idea as to when the snake slithered into his vehicle. He told the authorities that he had picked up two passengers the night before at a reptile show in Philadelphia. He recalled that during the ride, one of the passengers mentioned that their bag contents had fallen out and asked the driver to stop so she could search. However, at the time, the driver was unable to pull over, right? Okay, well, so far we can at least relate. He later returned and parked his car in the garage, unaware that the riders had accidentally left a ball python. Here's my problem with this story, okay? I mean, so a Pennsylvania Uber driver found a live ball python. The snake was discovered in the trunk the morning after the passengers left, and police safely removed it. That's a really nice need-to-know breakdown, but here's my problem. When she said, my purse feels a lot lighter, is anybody out there does anybody out there think that she didn't know exactly what the hell happened? I mean, my thing is like, she's like, can you pull over so I can look for it? When she got to where she was going, she didn't remind him that there's a huge snake in there. That's the part I'm confused on. The story, sometimes the story itself isn't always the grabbing part. It's the fact that this passenger's like, you should pull over. I think she knew I dropped my snake and she didn't want to say it. Shit, there's a snake in your car.
I wouldn't want to say that either.
Yeah. I mean, but then she's like, can you pull over? And he's like, I'm driving, sorry. And she just lets it go. She's just like,
Right.
okay, I'm not going to tell him. I just don't get that. I mean, in my opinion, she should be arrested, dude.
I don't know. I mean, saw
again, I looked, he had been, defanged, or he didn't have venom or whatever. So, but still, nonetheless, it's not
venom.
okay. But you could have a heart attack from seeing it. I mean, you could as a driver.
I saw a lost item opportunity, if they didn't want to claim it, because they sell for between $65 and $300. So I saw a Facebook Marketplace ad going up.
Yeah. I really, I mean, that's one way to look at it, but I honestly think this is an example of just somebody why does she not care about the snake?
Right.
Why is this snake disposable? Like, oh, my bag's light. Weird. Like, did she think she dropped it on the walk to the car? I feel like the way she said that, and can you pull over? She knew it was in that car.
Right. I mean, there's either drugs, alcohol, or stupidity involved with this, or something. There's some kind of gross negligence that was going on. Doesn't make any sense.
Maybe all of the above,
Right.
But and as we do, look, I forgot to do this on Monday. We do the 4 stock countdowns, right? Taking it from who's performing the best out of Uber, Instacart, Lyft, and DoorDash. We take who's performing the best to who's performing the worst, and every week I use the same metric the last 6 months. Okay, that's how we've been gauging this, so that I'm not changing that. So let's take a look. Coming in at best, we got Instacart. Over 6 months, they are up 3.2%. And that's been a tough 6 months on the market, too. I'm not a big Instacart fan. You guys know that. I'm just being honest. Coming in at second, oddly, Uber. Uber's only down 25% of their stock. Doesn't that sound pathetic to say that? They're coming in second out of 4 because they're only down 25%. And then in the third, we have the sad Lyft. Oh, sad Lyft. You're down to $13.22 a share. I mean, another few weeks, I'll be able to buy the company for a pack of gum. So, and then we have fourth place, DoorDash. 89% lost in 6 months of the company's value. And Tony Hsu said this year would be their most expensive year of spending.
It looks like
I'm interested to know where this is going, man. Like, this is becoming a little comical to me. I know that, like, nobody wants to see the rug yanked out from under them tomorrow, and you don't have the ability to dash. I get that. I don't think that's coming. However, they're facing some hardships by, like, trying to be we're in 1,000 things now, you know? And I think the proof of it is, let me hit it right here. Oh, like, I mean, here's another proof of it. Zesty. I had to dig into the Zesty stuff. I thought Zesty was an acquisition. It wasn't. Zesty was a sub company created by DoorDash, right? So here's Zesty. So Zesty, in November of last year, 2025, it was an AI thing to basically, I mean, it even sounds stupid to me. Like, this whole thing was based on, like, trying to, like, help you find cool and unique restaurants, you know, like, if you went out and didn't use the app. And I'm thinking, man, there's a ton of apps that have been out for 20 plus years, some of them that do this. What are you talking about? Like, maybe some of them are older and more dated. Well, they're getting all of the information was just being grabbed from DoorDash, Google Maps, TikTok, and Reddit. That's how they were basing all of this. And then, what is it? The 9th, 3 days ago, they pulled the plug on the program. They say it's winding it down and it's integrating some features, but I looked, it's integrating nothing. I looked into this hard. And then it says, additionally, Zest Maps, a separate company, has a lawsuit alleging that DoorDash stole this. How did DoorDash steal the dumbest idea ever and launch it? So, here's an example of what Zesty was supposed to do. I think this is pretty sad. So, like, it's saying AI-powered discovery, you know, used AI to answer complex prompts. Now, remember that word complex, like cozy pasta spots with outdoor seating. That's a complex prompt. You don't need an LLM. You don't need anything. You just go to Google and search that. That's nothing more than a Google search.
This is like Yelp gone bad. Doesn't everybody know Yelp died pretty much already?
But okay, so Yelp was one of the, I'm glad you said that, because Yelp was one of the ones I was going to use. Whether it's dead or not, it's still there. I mean, like, it does this already. Like,
right. But Yelp's already there. What do they need this for?
I don't know. I mean, that's why I'm going to keep looking, because I know that a lot of money went into that. And 4 months later, they're done with it. I could have said, when the day they said, here's the idea, I would have just said, well, put that one in the toilet. We're not even going to spend a dime on it. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So therefore, I do need to say, it's not just me or Sean or you guys that would have said that. Obviously, people in DoorDash would too. Something's going on here. They're writing something off. Who knows what they're doing?
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't know, but it's not, I don't know. It's not, I don't know. And then I have the CTO too, but I want to at least pull this up. I don't know if you guys know about the COO from DoorDash, but it's interesting to look through his past. So he was the CFO of DoorDash and then moved up to this chief operating officer. And the reason that we're talking about him is because chief operating officer is the one he would be the person, if all of us could get to one person and talk to them about, like, drivers and our needs and everything, it would be this guy. This is the guy we would go to. Now, if you look at his past, I wouldn't, because I think he's a piece of crap. If you look at his past, he moved from CFO, president, to COO in 2023 at DoorDash. His background prior to DoorDash was vice president of finance at Uber. And before that, he worked for Goldman Sachs. I mean, this guy that's a hat trick of scumbaggery right there.
He's going downhill.
I don't even know if there is an up or down with those. You've just made some poor leveraging decisions that are pretty much equal.
I mean, he worked for Golden Sachs. I mean, geez, if you did that and you're just kind of
and then he becomes the financial officer at Uber, and then they get rid of him, so he goes right to DoorDash. Like, it was like months. He became DoorDash's. Wouldn't there be like some? I mean, I know that the non-disclosures and stuff really don't exist for that level of player. That can happen,
right?
But I just like, why would Uber let him go and DoorDash acquire him? I don't know if I'm a player in any of the giant apps, I'm not going to take somebody that's getting let go from Instacart or Uber or whatever if I'm DoorDash and want them in the same position for me. I don't care how cool they are or what they've done. Like, I'm going to want somebody new. Like, no way, dude. I don't want you.
Kyle says bro's going to have to go do Lyft soon.
Well, you better hurry, man, because lifting,
right? He's gonna be washing Waymos next.
So I did bring up this too. DoorDash and Wing. Remember Wing, guys? We've been talking about Wing for 5 years plus. Wing was in Australia. They look stupid. They cost a ton. They have fails. They screw with migratory birds. Everything that you can do wrong, these things do wrong. But we're still talking about drone delivery. And guess why we talk about it with Wing? Because they're owned by Alphabet, which is owned by Google. So they have Google trillions. But I think that instead of DoorDash and Wing are expanding their drone delivery partnership in Atlanta, here's my rephrasing of how that article should be titled. We damn well know it doesn't work, but we're owned by Alphabet. So it is what it is. Because here it is, guys. Here's how stupid it is. Right. Here it is, guys. Here's how. I mean, that's pretty bad. That's like, anybody believing this at all? This is what it looked like when Gary Middleton and I would diss on the crap out of this thing. This is that same like stupid KFC looking bucket that can hold like 2 Happy Meals at best. And if you guys remember, in Australia, these things do 70 miles an hour. Why do you?
If you add a box fan to that,
whatever, man. And then as far as the Instacart, I just want to make a clarification because a couple people commented on Monday's podcast. And again, I would love to assume you're all right. I can't find it. A lot of times the news writes these articles up this way and they write them wrong. So they would write that you're paid for all the time when really you're only going to be paid for active time when they do these hourlies. And a lot of times you'd be surprised. A lot of these reporters get that wrong and just call it hourly. They don't talk about active or that. And it's not just that they left it out. They don't actually know what that means. A lot of them, they think they've been told this and this is how bad reporting can be. Like even like on big channels, this is why people say fake media. I say lazy media because NBC, CBS might get this article and they're like, wow, they're paying them $21.44 an hour on the Instacart platform in New York City. Well, no, that's active time. What the hell is that? They don't get to that question. They just assume it because they see it. They put it out there. It's good PR for the company. Now, this has happened before, but when I looked up the article, it says, and Seeking Alpha still has it this way, and Seeking Alpha has used active time. Now, they do have a lot of writers. However, I would assume that they have some kind of database and an editor who knows, damn, this is the active time thing. And he should be stepping in at this point. If he's not, the editor at Seeking Alpha is not doing his job, if that's the case. So here's how I know it from the articles I've found. It is not active time this time. It very well could be, and that's what a lot of people are saying in the comments. That's active time. I would assume so too. However, the 3 articles I've found specify that they've just reduced worse than they did with the rideshare drivers, the amount of people that can be on. And so therefore, and you can't skip any. You got to take everything.
Oh, wow.
Or if you skip one, you are thrown off your block shift. So my point is, supposedly they are paying $21.44 to have the app on. I'm not saying it. I didn't make the rule. I'm just saying how the articles at this point read. I would assume that if there's a correction soon that says active time, yes, I would agree with that. It should be active time. I would think it probably is, but I don't have any proof of it yet. Right now, all I have is articles that know to use the term active time. Like Seeking Alpha knows that term. They've used it several times, but they're not using it here. So is it 2144? You know, maybe Lou and Mary know. I know that they're not in New York City. They're in Long Island, but I don't know. Maybe we can get some intel on that. I don't know an Instacart.
Yeah.
I know people all over the country, but I don't know an Instacart shopper in New York, probably because nobody wants that job. Who the hell's going to park and go shopping and then try and get to you and all the crap that comes with New York? I mean, that's just my take. But anyway, I just wanted to put that out there as a little disclaimer. I'm not saying it's not active time. In fact, it would shock me if we don't get a revised copy here soon. But the problem is I have to go on what I read. And the 3 articles, the only 3 I could find on it, all said hourly. And they didn't beat around the bush. They were very clear that the biggest problem was the loss of 90% plus of the shoppers will not be able to get on the platform. This is no longer a just get on. And it's not even just a block grab. It really, literally, it's like 9/10 got deactivated. Boom. Now we'll work with the other 10% of you who still can't even all get on.
Wow.
So it's such a nightmare that we can sit here and debate it, but let's just wait for the article to come out, because the bottom line is Instacart is now suing them, and there's talk of them leaving New York. So that again leads me to believe maybe it really is a true $21.44 an hour to have the app on. Because again, people were saying, well, they'll just sit on their couch and skip. You can't. You got to take everything. That's the kicker. See,
so you go out to Long Island and then come back to Manhattan.
There's the last part of it, Sean. Like, you know this too. Like, okay, so what's going to ever stop them from I do know this. My first concern is what's going to stop them from triple stacking you every time and just sending you gone, right?
Right.
Each shop has to be individual. There's no stacking allowed. That's part of the NYC regulation that they just put in place.
Okay.
So you have to be doing one shop at a time, but still, like, if you have to take everything, what's going to determine that I'm doing $21.44 in the city of New York an hour? That's my hourly pay, but I don't get any perks. That's just it. And what if I'm going 15 miles and then 15 miles back? My guess in New York City is that's about a waste of 2 hours, just the driving portion.
Right.
So I don't know, to me, and I mean, I guess you would be paid even for the drive back if this is the case, but maybe they just lock you up with something as soon as you get there and have you playing ping pong till they're done with you, you know? So,
or you're done with them.
Yeah. So lots of pros and cons there, but we'll sort that out as we go. So before Sean gets into the Colorado rideshare stuff, because he's got some stuff to say, we're going to go over real quickly, because every single buddy, I'm going to show you guys the states here. Every single person is going to be facing either the ABC test in the states that I'm going to show you guys, which is most states. That by November, you'll either be facing the ABC Plus test, which is the same as California's. So we only need to go through ABC, but it's actually a 6-prong test. They added 3 more. Or it will be going under the 2021 economics realities test that the previous administration put in place prior to, or 2 previous administrations ago. So the same president now, administration, put it into place at the end of his
Right.
term. They killed it as soon as the last administration came in. So when I talk about this on the podcast on Monday, by the way, the bigger, deeper dive will be that there is a comments time that ends on April 28th at midnight. People need to get in comments. They do a great job at debugging now. So if you guys want to weigh in, if you care to remain independent contractors, you might want to. But let's real quickly go through this. The ABC test is a strict standard, presuming workers are employees unless they are free of control, work outside of the company's usual business, and have independent business. California, Massachusetts, Jersey, Illinois, and Washington already have it in the works, if not already launched. Now, here are the states that will have one or the other come November. You'll have the economics reality test or the ABC test. Let's go. Alaska, Arkansas, California, Connecticut, Delaware, Georgia, Hawaii, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, Ohio, Oregon, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Utah, Vermont, Washington, and West Virginia. You will have the economics reality test or you will have the ABC test. And that will determine if you're an independent contractor or not. So let's start off with the economics reality test. Hopefully all of you will realize this is the way you want it to go. Okay. So there was a Barella test too, and there was a standard IRS test, but this is the one that they put into place right before they destroyed it and put the ABC national and tried to go PROACT and stuff. But so to establish if you're an independent contractor or not, to basically the nature and degree of the worker's control over their work. So you would have to have that control, meaning like mapping. Not again. So under both these, they're going to be screwed, but under one, it doesn't work anymore. So what you're going to see with AB5 or with the ABC test. But under this one, it does. But they do have to not tell you or even try and tell you which mapping. They can't use time metrics on you. None of that stuff. You are considered an independent contractor to go do the job and get it done. Workers' opportunity to profit and loss based on initiative and or investment. By the way, that one might be very tricky to understand. So I got a Kim Cavan certified clarification on this. What that second part means is basically, in one word, transparency. That the opportunity for profit and loss must be based on fully transparent facts. Meaning, if it's not transparent, then the company is in violation. If they're trying to control how you do the work, they're in violation. And then if they need to, they can go farther. They hope that the hope of this test when it was developed is that the first two takes care of it. But the additional three factors are the skill level required for the work. So if they need an electrician and they're hiring out to somebody who has taken one class and isn't even like journeyman under somebody. He's just taken one class, basic electric, and he's doing the work. He wouldn't be what they called a skill set provider. This is if they need to go to this level, by the way. Permanence of working relationship. And by that, like, are you there all the time, but as an independent contractor? Because they're going to crack down on that being a way that companies straight up just avoid paying the employee tax because you would be an employee if that is the case. And three, whether the work is part of an integral part of the production. Now, additional factors in this one can be considered, but I want to real quickly compare it to the ABC test because this, you guys, is what too many states are sold on right now. And we're trying to get the other one in front of them. And that's why there's a date to get that signed. So the ABC test is very harsh. And it's going to have three other prongs too that we've gone through in previous episodes, but these will all apply if this is the way your state goes. So then you must satisfy all three or else basically the ABC also starts off as you are an employee. You're an employee. Prove to us that you're not. So you walk in, you're an employee. You now have to prove the worker is free from the control and direction of the hiring entity in connection with the performance of the work, both under the contract and the performance of the work and in fact, so how the work's done. 2, this is a big one. The worker performs work that is outside the usual course of the hiring entity's business. So if you do DoorDash delivery, you're not outside, like their day-to-day business is delivering food. Under this, what they're saying is if that's the case, you're an employee if you're delivering food, because that is what they do for a business. If the office of DoorDash had 3 toilets broken and needed to hire a plumber, they could contract that out to you, but they can't contract delivery work out because that is what under ABC is considered manipulating a W-2. And then the third one is, and this is a kicker, guys, this one has to be met. This one was a trip up in California too. You'd think the first 2 would get y'all, but the worker is customarily engaged in an independently established trade, occupation, or business of the same nature as the involved in the work performed. So if I'm a rideshare driver and I have an app called Steve's Rideshare, and that's what I'm doing, that's how I make my money. Now, I don't know that there's a set amount, but they want to see that you're doing business on your own too. But now I can go work for a rideshare company. However, that rideshare company must be able to pass the B prong, that it is outside their daily course of work. So for Uber and Lyft, that's right out the window. Their daily course of work is rideshare and food delivery. So no, you don't. That's what they should be hiring as W-2 employees. And they consider that under the ABC skirttailing the law. So if you just saw the ABC compared to the first one, we'll go through it way more on Monday, but you just saw a huge contrast. A huge contrast. One is kind of like, hey, just say you're self-employed, pay your taxes correctly, do your thing, be good people, and don't buy illegal accounts. Okay. And then the second one is you're not going to pass this test. We don't care who you are. And if you guys don't think so, look at I'll try and find a way to share it out, or I'll bring it into Monday's podcast. But I have a short up that has the 608 careers that were ended in California. They can't exist because they only existed with independent contractors. And one example that I often use is like rural nurses, or the ones who are specifically trained for rape victims. Every hospital in an area, like let's say there's 10 hospitals within a driving range to somebody, they might only have one independent contractor that is trained fully in that does all 10 hospitals. Now, to have one of those, each hospital has to employ one.
Wow.
I'm just trying to put it into perspective so you guys can like easily understand how bad this is. Like, I mean, this is somebody who's gone above and beyond their duties as a nurse.
Right.
And has taken it to the next level and say, yes, I really want to be able to help people. So they've done that on their own. This is what people do when they create businesses.
And they have special equipment that they don't have at the hospital, like the cameras that take infrared
and the
photos.
Also the training,
different
too.
things like that, and all the training and be able to testify with all that stuff. I mean, that's a complete specialty for those forensic nurses as it is. Yeah, that's crazy.
And so here's 2 examples real quick before Sean gets into his story about how AB5 can fail, or ABC can fail or not fail. So a construction company proved that a worker who specialized in historic reconstruction was sufficiently free of the company's control, where the worker set his own schedule, worked without supervision, purchased all the materials using his own business card, and had declined an offer of employment by the company. So I would also say like a point tuck guy, like guy that does brickwork and stuff, like, those kind of people are going to be exempt because you don't need them on your everyday crew. But here's the other side to establish that work at home knitters and sewers who made the clothing were sufficiently free from the company's control, where the employer provided the pattern, or the workers with the same patterns. The court reasoned that the degree of control and direction over the production is no different when the when the sweater is knitted at home at midnight than if it were produced in a 9 to 5 job factory. That's how, and again, each judge gets to rule on this. So, like, I mean, we've heard about some crazy stuff with the music scene that I won't even get into. Like, why didn't he pass, but we did? And it's two of the same people doing the same thing in the same town.
Right.
It's,
So how much control? I mean, because that's where it gets really big, is because, you know, they talk about controlling the work that they do. And so that's where it gets really sketchy, because, you know, sometimes things fall into timelines, you know, so like you were talking about with the nurse thing, they have an incident, they get called in. So they got to kind of be able to direct it, you know, just like they do with gig work. But you can't just sit there and say, you got to come in at 8 o'clock every day and sit there, maybe get some orders and so on and so forth. But then what's the cutoff with that, Steve? I mean, can they direct what you're supposed to do after work hours too?
what do you, they can't do it at all, or else they have to become a W-2 model.
Okay.
That's
Just
the
question that
under both of those, by the way, guys, like even the better of the two still has to be met by the company. So when I'm saying all those states are going to have one or the other, it's a big difference between those two. The economics reality test actually is passable. You're gonna have to like really, like, you might have to pay some attention. You know, you might have to get a little bit involved.
Right.
All that, you know, your taxes might be a little different once they get this sorted out. But the ABC test will make it impossible for you guys to do this work at all.
Correct.
At all. I mean, the only reason that the ABC test in California works is because when they made AB5, all the gig apps, this was the first time we'd ever seen it. They all said, no, we're not doing this. What do you mean? That because they had to meet those 3 criteria. And I mean, like, even writers, friends of mine who have been doing tons, you know, they knew, like, why is this affecting me? I worked for, I mean, a lot of been on this show, like Kim Kevin and all those people. They've all worked for like New York Times, Miami Herald, you know, the Chicago Tribune. They're writers. And then it became, you can only write 5 articles per publication. And if the publication were owned by another publication, which most are, so let's say that 3 papers, the Boston Herald, the Miami Herald, and the Chicago Tribune, are all owned by the same company, you can only do 5 between the 3. So these rules were just getting thrown. Everybody was just done. You couldn't work. And that's what they're throwing out here now. I mean, this is what I've known. This is what's coming. We've been talking about it for a while. I didn't know it was going to become so black and white. Hey, John, what's up? Thank you for that. That's very, very kind of you. By the way, guys, we plug him anytime he's in here, is that go check out John. And it's not just the super chat. No, I'm just kidding. It really isn't. He does a ride along every day. And it's, again, guys, there are some that that at least don't click with me. That doesn't mean they wouldn't resonate with you. However, his resonates with me. So I don't have a ton of free time, but when I do, I pass through his. His community's nice. You know,
and I'll echo everything you say. And man, I mean, John knows how to drive, dash, and talk to the chat all at once. And, you know, he's good people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So check him out too, for sure. And Sean, I think Sean might literally go berserk here. If this YouTube gets shut down, it's because some stuff's about to go down. And when he's done, I need to close this out with some illegal account stuff. But he's going to tell you guys, I'm not sure how far you're going to go into this, but I've talked to Sean many times off camera on this, like hours on this one topic. So I'm going to let you just go.
So I kind of want to scratch the surface on this. And Steve, thank you for putting the last topic before this one, because I think there might be some relevance here, and I'd like you to chime in. Anybody else in the chat, when you see what I'm going to give a high level overview of this with the Drivers Co-op. But first, let me give a little bit of background. Many of you know I used to be the president of the board of Drivers Co-op Colorado. I resigned, I think it was March 13th, somewhere around that timeline. So, and there's some importance in this because on March 24th, they issued a new policy. I had no visibility of it. No one else on the board had visibility of it before they brought it to the board and said, hey, we want to do this. But this policy that they put in place is called the Drivers Co-op Colorado Disciplinary Action Policy. Boy, and I'm going to just jump ahead really quick to one point. This policy pertains to behaviors outside of driving activities. Violations occurred while providing services on co-op drivers are regulated under the deactivation policy of Drivers Co-op Colorado. So they're now telling me and every other driver what we can do when we're not even driving. See that little disclaimer right there, Drivers Co-op? I don't care. If they want to start a war and go and deactivate me, let's go. But come on, they put a deactivation a disciplinary action policy like I'm a W-2 worker in place. And
plus
and
just the wording. I don't like the disciplinary. Why is disciplinary in the title?
Yes.
Is it just me?
Right.
Because to me that almost sounds like you're all criminals. We know it. Screw you, and we're going to hold you to this crap. I mean, it's at least.
And it's a policy instead of freaking guidelines. You want to give some guidance to people, maybe on how to conduct themselves for people that may not be familiar with it. But you know what? Come in the day. I don't care. I'm a 1099 contractor. Do you think Uber and Lyft want to sit there and direct people's speech? No. They're trying to direct my speech. So let me go a little more into this and interrupt at any time because I'm on a rant here. So the Drivers Co-op Colorado is committed to maintaining a respectful, high-performance workplace. When issues of behavior and conduct arise, we believe in addressing them properly, fairly, and consistently. Anyway, that's just... What kind of kumbaya crap is this?
I'm wondering what that even, what are they going to be doing?
What does this word salad mean, right? Okay, well, I'll jump around. This is, by the way, you guys can download this yourself. I'm not sharing any confidential information. You can go on their website and find it. Standards of behaviors. After we get through a whole bunch of other little stuff. Members are expected to show a high standard of behavior when interacting with other members and staff representing the cooperative to ensure the co-op good name and reputation is maintained.
Yeah, question.
Go ahead, Steve.
So I'm just curious. So how, and I'm being honest, how often do they interact? How often do our members and stuff seeing each other? Is it that often? Like a driver goes in and sees them? Is it a members board or something?
Well, so they've got the board is drivers, other than one, but that gets into a whole nother thing about driver communication and communicating with the board and a big giant mess with that. But yeah, they're trying to direct and kind of guide to their preferences is my belief with this and my experiences of what I saw as to how they want things to work per their world, not necessarily what the drivers want. And, and that was a big reason that I resigned from the board, not just resigned as a president, but resigned from the board altogether because I felt I could be a more effective voice for the drivers by not being restrained by a lot of that stuff.
But even the discussions you and I had about them before you resigned,
right?
This I'm just bringing this up because these people don't know. Like Sean and I, again, like I said, we've talked hours about this. I tried to. I was trying to help him brainstorm, but he had already thought of all the things pretty much I had thought of. We were right there on the same. I'm like, what about this? And he's like, I thought of that too. Like he had really exhausted it. So I'm wondering what you really hoped to achieve with these people. Like once you stepped down, did you think you were going to have any say at all that would have helped the drivers at that point?
not by the time that I resigned, because I was even told in a board meeting that I shouldn't be talking to the drivers. Well, wait a minute, what the hell? The drivers elected me to represent them. So yes, I should be talking to the drivers. And that's an honest truth. I'll go under deposition for it, and that person can speak to it. But they literally, somebody in management said I should not. I, as the president of the board, should, as me specifically, should not talk to drivers. Period.
Well, probably because here's my opinion on it. It's growing, but the amount of drivers is still small enough. You could get to a decent amount of them. And
Yeah, there's
therefore,
1,000 drivers.
right. So, I mean, that's something where maybe you don't get to all of them, but you can get to a decent amount of them and say, listen, the model that they're using, which you and I have talked through thoroughly, and I don't care that they're hearing me
Right.
say this. In fact, I don't know them, but I'll say this clearly is that after talking with Sean, like I can say that, like, look, you guys aren't run by people who know this industry. You guys going with the 80-20 stuff and all, you're showing
Right.
how poor, or how you don't belong in this space at all.
No.
And it's too bad,
this
because
is-
it was going to be, any competition that goes on for Uber and Lyft, Sean and I fully support. But this isn't going to work like this.
It's not going to work in the model that they have currently. And that's the
what I
only
mean.
reason I'm even talking about this at all, Steve, because there's still hope for it. And it doesn't mean, bring in VC money.
Of course.
And, because I think there's great intent with what the co-op wants to do. And, whether they're serving underserved markets, underserved people, or helping, drivers get a better living wage. I believe in all that, and I know that's what their intent is, but there's a whole lot of things getting derailed over their lack of knowledge of the actual business, and not allowing the driver board to direct that business. So,
Yeah.
and then putting this policy in place. I mean, all they want to use this as a sword rather than a tool to educate and help build drivers up. They want to use it for, like me, when I come on and make these kind of statements, and say, well, you've displeased the co-op, so we're gonna impose our disciplinary action policy on you. Well, there's some drivers that just don't care. And as long as I'm saying factual things, I can say whatever I want, because we got this cool little thing called the First Amendment that they probably ought to look at before they worry about this ridiculous policy that they're trying to implement and direct and guide my speech, whether I'm on the clock or not on the clock. And so, again, this is the views of Sean, not representing the co-op. For any of you that
These are the solo. Right. These are your views.
Yeah. Right.
You're right. And again, the trying to silence you really kind of pissed me off. But as Sean knows, I was trying to let it go, because he knows, like, once he was like, I'm ready, like, he knew I'd be on board and be like, let's get him, but I was also holding back because I hadn't drove for him. And I was like, you know what? Sean knows, and he'll know when that time is. But now I have to fully support. They don't know what they're doing, dude. 2080, 28. The only reason that 1585 85 going to the driver and 15 worked for Uber and Lyft in 2014 was because they had to mass onboard drivers. That's it. That's the only reason. They were losing money. And then when they went
and they
to
had
80,
VC,
they were still losing money. So guess what, guys? As much as I would love to tell you we should get 80, it's not a feasible thing.
No.
I mean, even
not
just,
at all.
I mean, realistically, like a 70-30 potentially, that might be a real cut. And then price accordingly. But
correct. And I talked about that briefly on my podcast on Tuesday, was about that 80-20 and HB 261273. It won't work. And the co-op specifically, and you go look, you'll see they have all kinds of marketing materials. And there's a video on my channel. Please, everybody go look and like it, push it out, because it needs to get spread, because they had somebody in the hearing state that the co-op's already given their drivers 80%, and that's a lie. if you go do the math, they're not giving their drivers 80%. They're doing way better. They're doing about 74 to 76%. So why the hell wouldn't you just gloat about that and say, man, that's a huge victory? But they stand on this principle of 80-20, and then they water it down and call it, give it their own little flair version of it. But it's not 80%, guys. If you drive for the co-op, go do the math, like I said before.
And again, I almost feel like that decision, and I could be wrong, was made by them because they're like, well, Uber and Lyft are going to fight this. Let's be on board with it. Like, you don't have to just be on the opposite side of whatever Uber and Lyft always want to do. They could be right. And in this case, they are.
Right.
That 80-20 doesn't work. Model doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. I mean, just basic business finance, and that's, you have people overriding the direction of the board of what they want to do. And that just, what do you do with that? You get mad, you get frustrated, you resign, and then you go on Rideshare Rodeo podcast and talk about it.
I want to real quickly shout out all the driving mafia that came in from John. I see that you guys, I think that even some of the names I don't know, but I'm seeing a couple comments. Appreciate all you guys. Love John's live stream. Already plugged that, so check him out if you haven't already. But some of you guys are probably coming right from there. But I don't know. I think that like what you showed when you first came on this, your earnings, when we did the earnings screenshots.
Right.
Again, it's like a dumpling type thing. I did see again, now here I am being positive. I did see well, this could be a good thing.
And it can, but yeah,
but from all the talks that I've had with you, and it's not one guy, it's not this guy or that guy. The people running this almost need a complete overhaul, as I've read it from you. It almost needs to be a completely different group of people who understand what needs to be done here. And it would be a great time to implement them and let them run with the ball and fix it before it's broken for good.
But I mean, it's all reactive management. They're not looking at the data. I mean, this is an 8-page.
But how long would they be willing to take a loss for?
Well, that's it. I think they're willing to take a loss for another couple of years.
But it'll get to be a bigger loss than it's been.
Well, of course it is, Steve,
right.
Because particularly when they had their first incident, and then all of a sudden, and they have a real incident happen. Right now, thank God and everything else that they haven't had a significant incident, but that one incident could wipe out the entire co-op. And they've got to plan for that and be prepared for it. And instead, they don't like things that people are saying or doing on social media. By the way, the day this policy went out, they took action on a driver. The day it went out, he didn't even have time to read it. I guarantee it. And they took action on him and with it. So this is reactive management. This is not strategic leadership.
No.
So
I mean, I could tell by the ideas that you had and that we brainstormed that if they're not even hearing those, and I'm not saying that Sean and I are right on everything, but we brainstormed some really good ideas that if they're just going, no, they're not going to win. You at least have to dive into these ideas because they're the only way you can win.
So, you know what? This is going to be a long, ongoing series for me. I don't want to bore everybody tonight with this.
We'll keep it short. That's what we do with some of this. That's why I went through AB5 quick. Then I put a little again. Some people see it as, you talked about this last time. No, I'm just shoving it down your throat a little slower.
Right.
Because I want it, and we want this stuff to stick. You guys need to know what's going on. I don't know if anybody's even going to look. I mean, you're going to believe it because I'm going to show you, but I don't know like how on earth I could be here tonight telling you that forget the Facebook accounts that are being sold to illegals that are through the roof in numbers, by the way. Forget the Instacart bots or the Instagram bots being sold on Instagram. Forget the TikTok lives where they're selling thousands. And again, guys, in no way is this getting better, by the way. No way. There's more people doing this now. I'm discovering more live sales nightly. Now it's not even kind of. If I get onto TikTok after like 10 p.m. and I click a couple of the lives that I've been watching, and then I go to my feed. If I watch for like a minute and go to my feed, I'll see who else is live that night selling it, because the feed picks up on that and starts throwing me to
Right.
these, even the other crappier ones. But something else has happened. People are now putting up videos that have like 200,000 views, tons of likes. Like, I want you guys to watch this. This is an 8-second video. It's from TikTok. But then we're going to watch something that's very, very disturbing. I want you to see this.
DoorDash, Instacart, Lyft, Uber. कोई भी प्रॉब्लम सादे कॉल आओ करके दोगे सॉल्व.
पैसे सारे बाद च.
So if you're used to TikTok, as soon as that reel ends, it'll go back. It'll keep playing, keep playing, keep playing. All that it's doing is advertising reactivation and skipping the line. They can do that for you. And that video I've reported, it's been up for 4 months. I know people who have TikTok videos taken down for saying the word shit.
Right.
Like, I mean, this is how weird it is.
Me.
But then there's this, you guys, and this is next messed up level. I'm going to show you guys something. We won't watch the whole, it's a 2-minute, 31-second news clip about rideshare. Now, what they did was they stripped the NBC logo off. They stripped anything tagging it to the right media, and they put their own banners in. And I want you guys to notice what the hell's happening here.
Hilton on Pensacola Beach, and how much is your ride costing?
34 and some change.
At any given moment, riders can be seen waiting for an Uber or Lyft outside Pensacola International Airport. But drivers could be getting scarce soon, as I was told outside the airport Wednesday that while fares are rising, wages are only getting worse.
I have to double my hours. I get here at 6 a.m. and I leave at midnight.
Uber driver Priscilla has been giving rides for 3 years, first in big cities like Chicago and St. Louis, where she says rates have been cut in half since she started there.
This 2.5 minutes goes on about how she went to Pensacola and all these other areas. She found 90 cents a mile on X in Pensacola, and then it was taken away. So the whole story is about what drivers are making. They ripped it clear and put that little thing that made it look legit, the little stamp saying some made like rideshare fake news or whatever the hell they wrote up in the corner. And then if you looked there, it said reactivate through this WhatsApp thing. Now realize, this one has been up a few weeks, tons of views. And this channel that it comes from they don't do lives. They put out videos every day on how to buy accounts, where to get them, what lives to go to. And if you notice that WhatsApp number, you guys, if you want to go back, take a screenshot. If you're on WhatsApp them and say, hey, scumbags, I just reported you. Because as I've been finding out from some of the lawmakers that I work with, here's the way that some of this goes down. And this has all been since the illegal conversation came up with the lawmakers where they lent in a hand. So I wanted to update you guys with this little. So what they already know is something I didn't know. This is interesting. So if somebody has a WhatsApp number, think of it like a burner account. It's going to be up for about 10 days. They're using it in about 7 locations, maybe. And they're filtering, they're selling accounts. And it's just one of the ways. I mean, they can do it live on TikTok without a WhatsApp number. They're like literally doing everything they can. But with the WhatsApp numbers, I was asked, is it worth taking the time to report them though? And the lawmakers who are just starting to get really weighed in it, no, they said yes. They said absolutely. They said because if they go 10 days without too many reports and don't get taken down, they pull it down and put up a new one. And then that's a win if it gets taken down by them because it's not used. Because later there are, believe it or not, for those of you that think, well, they could be using, where they're pinging 3 different like VPNs, they're pinging all over the world. And so nobody knows where they really are. The footprint on WhatsApp and stuff, even though it's sketchy and all that, and it's encrypted, the footprint still exists. And if they have enough complaints, they are able to make a tie to that number that can lead them somehow to something. It makes sense to me. I don't know if I just made it make sense to you guys. It is important to report these.
So report them on both WhatsApp and on TikTok, or is that what?
Man, listen, I've got 3 lawyers now. I've got like 7 groups. So when I email DoorDash, I email their legal team as well as their promotions team. And then I put in the CC column 3 lawyers. And then I put in like 7 groups that they are very familiar with.
Right.
So when they see an email come from me, they see that it's going to DoorDash about a problem like this, but they see that I've CC'd attorneys. They see that I've CC'd groups that are fighting for independent contractorship and to get illegal fraudster accounts off of this damn platform. So even just seeing that and me saying, hello, everybody, and them knowing that, oh God, this whole posse knows each other.
So
I'm bringing in the big guns when I email them. I'm not screwing around anymore.
Why do you think DoorDash wants to keep these around? Because these reactivations can only happen one way, somebody on the inside.
Oh yeah.
So that should be easy, very easy to just run and go say, give me a list of everybody that was deactivated and who are the people that reactivated them. And that list, those names should be.
Oh, dude, it's
small.
Trust me, I mean, we joke about it, but let's just stick with DoorDash. DoorDash is look, it is a switch operator. It is not a tech company. But for a second, I'm going to divert. They do have a handle on logistics of their app. I hate to even give them that credit because it's an out of control app. The algorithm is doing things all the time. It's always, it's like Louise said, it's a living, breathing thing at this point. So they're always having to like tame it, but they do have an understanding. So this would be the easiest thing in the world for them to catch. But why? Here's my thing.
Absolutely.
Of course they should want to catch them in an ethical planet, on an ethical world with ethical people. But why don't they? Because everybody that gets an illegal account doesn't pay the taxes and are the ones taking the $2 offers.
That's exactly it. Those $2 offers. That's my answer.
If they got rid of these, the $2 offers have to go. It's going to be 5, 6 plus on everything.
And then there'll be 200 orders sitting at Taco Bell and Chipotle with no tip on them instead of 50.
Or they'll move them quicker. And maybe next week we can talk about this because I had another system too. We talked about, I talked about the token background, but I had another bid on service thing that was based on a time sequence and what day it was. And was it between 5 and 7 on Friday, or was it between 2 and 4 p.m. when it's slower? And then your bid on service is how quick do you want your service? Then it's placed to the drivers. It's a very straightforward number and it's a livable number. But you know it up front. There's a hidden tip because eventually, like we're going to see in New York City. Look, New York City is, I haven't read this yet, but I said it on Monday. I'm going to say it again. With that Instacart story, no matter what comes of that, if it's active time or not, doesn't matter. What is the next thing that's leaving the Instacart app? They can't do it the same day, but what is the next thing that's coming? Removal of tips altogether, not the way that they do it after the fact. Remember how New York City Delivery now does? Well, we've moved the tip to after you've received your food. You can't tip them until then. Well, Instacart will just remove the tips altogether. They're stuck with a bill and they're like, forget it, dude. Our shoppers work for $21.44 an hour. That's it. You do not need to tip them. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they say that in the app. You'll notice an increase in some prices. And that's due to New York City's BS.
Right.
They'll blame it on that, which it's not a good law. It is BS. And I hate to, because I don't want to be on the side of Instacart, but they will say that. They'll even probably pass along a fee like Seattle did. In fact, you guys have to pay for it. However, we understand in these trying times, so we are paying our drivers more. No, you're not. You were forced to, and it probably won't even work out the way that anybody thinks it will. So no, you're not. But they'll say that. We're paying the drivers more, and in that, they're making a living wage. I wouldn't be surprised if that term came out. And we've removed the tipping option because if you really feel like they went above and beyond, feel free to tip in cash, which nobody will do. Right. Some of this just kind of crap language is about to come out and be spilled because these apps don't lay down and go, man, that legislation sucks. We'll just live with it. They never have. They never will.
And that's unfortunately one of the byproducts of government oversight and things, is that you do get bad ones like that happening. And just like we're seeing with the take rate bill and all this other stuff, it's
I mean, but
that's why it's bad.
them taking this NBC news clip and erasing all the
Oh.
NBC, dude, they're violating NBC now. They're violating the TikTok platform. They're violating DoorDash antitrust. They're committing identity theft. They're committing fraud. I mean, dude, there's like 700
so you
crimes
think they
here in
care
a
about-
packaged bundle.
You think they care about copyright law when they're doing all this other shit? No way. They don't.
I don't
care.
know that I'd be
I mean, come
screwing
on.
around with the copyright of one of the only few places out there that would follow up on it. NBC will hold your ass to the flames for it.
And maybe,
Especially with the way that they've twisted it and made it look like, look, this story involves these drivers too who need bullshit. You put that up there, and then what's in the comments and what's in the text the math ain't mathin'. Like, you are not with NBC, clearly.
Okay, maybe that's where this needs to go, is to NBC, because then they'll do a follow-up report on this stuff and start putting some more pressure on the legislators to actually and DOJ and everybody do something about this. I know they're doing something, but it's slow.
It's
squeaky wheel gets the grease.
It is slow, but you got to remember, man, I've been fighting this fight since 2022 with David Pickerel.
Right.
And now David's moved on to other things and whatnot, but I'm still fighting the transparency. But here we are with the illegal accounts. It's slow because they don't understand. Once they understand, they're very quick. Like, at least this time around, I've dealt with them before where it's not as quick, but this time around with the illegal accounts, it was like, what do you need us to do? We'll send these emails. We'll do this. You step back. We're going to need you more. Like, they kind of were, and they did it immediately. It wasn't something that happened 4 weeks later. It happened that day. All of their offices drafted to the FTC and the DOJ and the DOL. So it's like, they're ready. They want more. So I'm sending them stuff. They're sending me stuff now. That's what I'm telling you. Like, they're sending me stuff going, look at what we found. And it's the same kind of stuff that, like, I'm not looking at it going, this isn't what you need. This is like, that's how it was a few years ago. Like, you're just barely seeing the problem. This isn't the deep problem. They're sending me the deep problem stuff. Well, okay, this matches up with what you said. Thank you. Let's go. Let's get this taken care of, because enough's enough. Because you know what? Bottom line is, and I talk to enough drivers around the country, but I have for years with the Paris stuff and all this. I've talked to so many of you, and I know for a fact there are people who manipulate the system, who are frauds, who promote this shit, all kinds of problems going on. But there are some of us out there who actually just work hard. And it's really sad that this hasn't been fixed already. I'm going to do everything I can to get it fixed. And it is moving in the right direction. I mean, even the states having to follow an ABC or the other test, though, that's not a great thing for them. They're really they're screwed. They got to go to transparency. They got to go to, and the ABC test is just, you all are screwed, because unless they do a franchise model or decide that the state can maintain W-2 employees on the platforms, they won't stay. They won't be able. I don't mean that as they just to get back at them. They wouldn't be able to make any money. They would lose money hand over glove, so they'd have to leave.
Well, Torp made a comment much earlier during the ABC test that we missed talking about, was what about reclassifying and creating a different classification for gig workers?
Yeah, I feel like right now, with the way that politics are spread, and it
would never happen.
You and I live in the middle of the road.
Right.
And I think a lot of people watching like to live in the middle of the road as much as we can anyway. Right.
Right.
Right now, every issue is an extreme left, extreme right debate. And that means nothing's getting done.
Right.
Because even if the left or the right, or either side that you want to pick is wrong, even if they see the righteousness in the other side, at this point in America, they're gonna say, nope, I don't care if my family dies, you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. And I'm not getting political. I'm just telling you that's
No,
that's
I mean
how
that's
bad
a
it
fact. I
is.
mean, you can look at the voting records. Everything's, party line vote right now. So
Yeah.
you're not making a political statement. You're just stating what the data says.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I don't want this shit. You know what I mean? I don't
Right.
like we said in the beginning, we don't want legislation. Now I want legislation. I've been a part of getting it and part of making it. And we're all going to need it. As you guys just heard from the ABC. If you get the ABC test, you're done. You're done. I mean, Massachusetts thought they were going to get $32.50 an hour because that's what they passed last year. They ain't getting no $32.50 an hour. Hey, Sean White, what's up, man? This guy's got the best Boston accent I've ever heard.
Look at what's in the message.
Let's fucking go. What's up? DoorDash app gave me my personal phone number to a customer today. I was livid. Well, see, and this is part of the problem. I agree that it can go through the app, but realize that as they're going through some of these legislative changes, the fact is you're Sean, and whoever, you're the contractor. These apps that are tech companies, as soon as they're put into a corner and said, hey, tech company, answer this, they're like, we're not a tech company. We're just a simple dispatch. We just put it out to the contractors.
Right.
So therefore it is on you. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the new thing in some markets. They might just start giving out your number. Sorry, contact your driver. I can tell you this. If I use Uber Eats right now, I cannot, not even through the AI, how we described months ago that it's a tough path, I cannot get to an agent. Once the order is grabbed by a driver, I can only communicate with that driver. And you know how when a delivery or a ride ended, you now have lost all contact? That's gone a little bit. Right. Now you have like an hour to contact them still. Like we did an Uber Eats delivery and it said like, are there any missing items? If there were, I was to just hit call and it was going to call the driver's phone. This is them just washing their hands out of it. Now it should be masking the call at least, but whatever. Maybe they're even moving away from that. Fine. You guys want to be your own business? Then you fucking have a masked number. I'm not going to do it anymore for you.
Well, but we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, is that the big problem now with lost items, Uber's trying to get out of the middle of that. And they're like, oh, we'd like to give the passenger your cell phone number. No, you can't have my damn cell phone number. That's the keys to the kingdom. So it's happening. Apparently DoorDash, Uber Eats, it's just happening everywhere now. That's beautiful.
And Sean's in Mass. And so he says, no 32 an hour. So first of all, that was a rideshare thing. Now, I did this deep with Mike Karubi. We went deep into this, and he writes federal legislation, Mike. So like he lives in the Massachusetts area as well, and he was pissed about this stuff because he even knew. He saw what we all know, and he doesn't even do gig apps. And I've been working with Mike for years. And he's like, this never would work, right? And I'm like, no. This is where they do their active time thing. And half the people have to leave the rideshare platform. The others never make that. And now they control your active time. So that's what I always refer to as floor meets ceiling. You will make X amount per real hour, and that's it. I think when you put a dollar amount in, you're screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line. So I can tell you this, Sean, if you weren't watching about this last year, if you guys voted on it, I think it was your ballot number 4 or 8. One of those, I know that they're completely off, but ballot initiative 4 or 8 that you guys voted on last year passed, or the year before it passed under Maura Healey and that Boston mayor you got and all that crap. And they passed it and they put it into law, and the law said active time. Well, that is saying, we all say that the apps have control over us anyway. We all know this, but you push that shit down their throat, they will absolutely control you. Now they don't control you. They own you. You will work when and how and where they say. Go do this. Well, I don't go that way. Before the 32.50 that I can never make in a real hour, I never go that way. I stay here. Well, now you're going to go that way. Go. or else we're not going to send you any rides. I mean, like, they have literal control over you. I mean, Ron Banks is a friend of the show's. He's been on here many times. He has Ron is in North Carolina now. He's from Massachusetts, and he left there. Him and his wife left there because of this crap. He said that he was like, and he had been doing this a hell of a long time. He's doing all these apps. He's a multi-apper, and he has his own issues down in North Carolina with it now too. But I got to tell you that, like, his issues with Massachusetts were getting out of hand. Like, he was saying that, you know, he had some rideshare, he did some delivery, he did some Spark. Him and his wife both were doing gig work in different cars. But Ron used to have a decent amount of his earnings be rideshare. He told me once the 3250 got implemented that he would go from like 8 hours out there, instead of four of them being active with rideshare and then piecemealing the rest. Now it's like 1 or 2 at best are rideshare, because there just isn't. And the customers are paying so much more that your average daily customer has just moved on.
Right.
I mean, I hate to say this, but in Boston, in Miami, in Chicago, and in New York, and probably LA, California is a very hard read, but in the 4 other big East Coast and Chicago cities that I just mentioned, I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing already, I wouldn't ever call it huge because it's going to be a slow tick back, but I wouldn't be surprised if the cab companies are doing a little better. I mean, you put this kind of crap out there and people start, I'm not talking about from the drive, like the drivers are doing anything wrong or the saturation's changed. I'm saying the customers are going, what? I'll just take a cab.
Well, it's funny you say that, because when I was doing some research on the take rate bill here in Colorado, there was this Reddit post and somebody was promoting, you know, oh yeah, you got to do this. And, you know, and they're like, screw that. I'm done with all this drama. I'm just going back taking cabs. And that's there in Denver that they were talking about doing that. So yeah, that's right, Steve. I mean, that's definitely a product of that.
Yeah. I see that Meridian Heights says the in-app phone call to customers hasn't worked on DoorDash for over a month. So does that mean that they're giving out your number, or have you not had a situation? So that's what I'm wondering.
Well, and maybe that's why Sean had that happen, because maybe the thing's broken or they disabled it. I don't know. What do we like?
Some dude quit and he's just like, forget it, man. I'm just putting in everybody's number. Just contact them yourself.
Right. You can do anything on your last day. That's what.
Yeah. No, I mean, but so here he is too. I mean, like, he's in that same market too. So one thing that upsets me here is there are dashers that work in the exact same zones as me. They are not on the points. You know, I know that you guys had a huge illegal issue. And when I say illegal in 2026, we are not talking about just migrants or just illegals that crossed over. We're talking about people that got deactivated and then went to TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, whatever the hell, and got one of these burner accounts, or 15 of them. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe they, you know, dude, I know that some of the live streams I watch on TikTok, they give bulk discounts. Why would I be buying 5 DoorDash accounts? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, this is weird, dude. Like, why are they like, dude, you want a DoorDash account? Like, I've seen them do this, and somebody's like, yeah, it might take 2. And they're like, dude, if you take 5, we'll do them for half price. Why? What the hell are you doing? Like, well, are you just putting some on the side in case you get deactivated and then re-downloading the app and then taking another one of the ones you bought at a price break into it? Or do you have 5 phones? Or are you in the incognito system where we need to have him back on? But when I had him on, he said to me, don't worry about the guy stacking 10 phones, juggling. He goes, worry about the guy that has 90 DoorDash accounts in one phone. And yes, that's a reality. And the CEO of Incognito was on this podcast. Incognito handles the security for all of the gig apps now. He himself said, he told me, remember, I think I told you this once, Sean. He told me, just since we're on this, that if they eliminated, I don't want to get this wrong. I think it was the bottom 10%, might have been 20, but let's just say, I really do think it was 10. He said if DoorDash were to go and eliminate the bottom 10% of their bad actors that they know about, the worst ones, they would almost double their revenue. I think he was even going further at the time down the road of like, well, you're going to have to charge more. You're going to have to pay the drivers better. So I don't think he's saying revenue is profit. He's just saying you're going to make the company a lot more money. And then there's a lot better ways to try and figure out how to make that into a profit.
Correct. That's what I was going to say. Just because you're increasing your revenue doesn't mean you're improving your profit, but that puts you in the right direction. But it leaves you open for more to work with Incognia tighter and go, now what do we do? Right. And they say, now we do this, and that. You know what I mean? Like they have ideas, right, but they need to get rid of, like, even his suggestion was, I said, which app was that too in that interview? And he said, all of them. He said, I gave the same speech to all of them on that portion anyway. I said, all of you guys need to eliminate the bottom percentage of your bad actors, because some of them that's when he brought up the 90 accounts on one phone, which what is it, partitioned? I don't get it, but it is doable. It is doable. There are people who are the same people selling these fraudster accounts can sell a phone that has 90 accounts on it. Now, I don't know how many people are privy to this, but I'm guessing that, here's my guess, is that somehow the ones, like I see the people in vans here, right? Those people hand out phones. We were talking about this, right? People come up, they just hand out phones. My guess is that they have those 90 accounts on one phone. They're taking everything right there. And then, that's this phone, right, here, take this one. Here, you take these two and do those 2 deliveries. But my guess is, instead of having 90 phones laying out, he's just got the 90 ready to go and numbered, but he's doing it all through one interface. Like, I don't think there's people like me and Sean running around that have 90 accounts on a phone. I think that's more of the people who are literally running cartel business. Right.
I don't know how else to say it.
Is what it is.
It is what it is. So I mean, yeah, I don't. So if somebody needed to call Meridian, what has happened for the last month? I'm curious.
SOL.
Right, but like, I can call my driver after the fact. Now I'm wondering, if I do that, am I calling his phone? If they removed the mask, if they like gone, screw it, dude, here's his number and you deal with him. He's your contractor.
Well, that's what Sean said. I mean, have that happen. He said it happened today. So here's my guess, is that this problem, or this horrible solution of what they did to Sean today, giving out his personal information, which they shouldn't be doing, my guess is that could become very common nationwide very quickly. Like, we might hear that story, and in 2 weeks we might be talking about, why is the whole country now all your numbers are given out? Right.
Just saying.
So Meridian says that they can call him, but he can't call them. So I guess he has to message them and hope they call him.
Mr. Giggity, how you doing, man? Every once in a while you roll through. That guy's been around forever. I love that dude. He's in Texas, so
all right.
I don't know how long you've been with us. I don't even know if you're still doing gig work, bro, but obviously we went through a lot. We went over time, but hopefully you guys are seeing the pattern of the illegal stuff too. It is not ending. And luckily there's a lot of lawmakers on board with this. They are ready to start throwing that net. And I mean it. They don't give a shit anymore. The briefcases of money. This is where it gets a little optimistic for you guys. The briefcases of money that they used to give to the lawmakers, that the lobbyists would funnel through for them and get it to the lawmakers, they now have to go, we can't touch that anymore. Even if they support their even if DoorDash supports somebody's campaign, that doesn't mean anything anymore, because now the constituents will kill you. They always outpower the briefcases of money. The problem is the constituents used to just be the drivers who were just getting screwed and never saying anything about it. They weren't reaching out to the lawmakers. They didn't have that voice. Then the customers started getting screwed off. So now they started reaching out to them. Now the businesses are getting screwed up. And now that changes the entire game. Because now when the businesses can't operate, your city falls apart.
Yep.
So the lawmakers literally have to listen. So if they've got businesses, customers, I mean, hell, probably some family members that each of them know in many cases are like, dude, these apps are screwing me over. When they hear these stories that we're throwing them and giving them information, I am sure that they're like, damn, I've been hearing that from some family or friends or whatever. I mean, it's too widespread for them to be that. I have never heard of this. That was 2023. In 2026, they've heard of it.
Well, and a lot of people have turned to gig work that previously hadn't, like professionals, like you got coders and cyber guys that end up getting laid off either short term or otherwise they go do gig work. So air traffic controllers. So it's starting to get a little more visibility probably than it has in the past.
So we'll keep updating this. I think that this is a good cliffhanger moment to leave us on, because who knows, we come back next week and if the co-op saw this and maybe we got some more to say, or if there's more on this, because more on this is going to keep funneling in. With November might sound a long ways away, but it's not. It's not like at the speed. I don't know how you guys feel, but life's moving pretty quick. Like I can't believe we're halfway through April. Like I felt like we just started, but so, I mean, or a third of the way, it's just crazy to me. So like life's moving quick. November's going to be here before we know it. But even between then, they have to fix a lot of this. It's not going to be on that day. So almost weekly, I feel like we'll have drops and updates on this stuff because there's more coming out every day, not even week. So, everybody, thank you for joining. And thank you to the Mafia crew over at John's. Always appreciate you guys. You guys are a good posse. Keep it clean over there. Keep John. I know you guys do, but keep John's thing clean because a lot of those go south. And there's a big crowd over there. And that's why I really appreciate what all you guys do, because somehow you manage it properly. You got your mods properly doing it. John runs a good live stream. But those can be hard to manage with 50 people in it. He's got 250 sometimes, and it's still being managed properly. So you know what? I am always for the ride-alongs because I think that they can be this work can get to you sometimes being alone all the time. So it's just a way to be almost like coworkers just out there, even if you just need to vent, might not be all the answers, but even if you just want to vent or, whatever, or talk about a good or bad offer or see if you get some insight, that's the kind of place where I believe a tip and a trick might happen accidentally that might help you. I do not believe in tips and tricks videos. Like that's not ever going to help you. That's just horse shit. But anyway, guys, on behalf of Sean and I, thank you for joining us here tonight. Thank you for putting up with us, and we'll continue to keep breaking it down. We're in the no fear zone now. Like we don't really care. We're going to put it all out there. And anybody from any agency, company, whatever, if you ever feel like coming on this show, Steve at Rideshare Rodeo, you guys are always welcome. Anybody, DoorDash, come on. I mean, Uber, you've used my podcast on the Senate floor. You know who I am in Colorado. So get your ass up here. Send a lobbyist, for God's sake. We'll destroy them, or we'll make them expose what they do. So they're probably not the best person, but send somebody. Otherwise, everything we say, you guys are just how I see it. You guys are because we base our stuff on factual. So we're using factual anyway. We're encouraging you to come on here. Problem is, you probably won't, because how do you fight the facts? And we got them. And we got a lot of people behind us who definitely will put those stamp on it. Theirs are the facts, guys. So you're still welcome to come on here. Please explain what you're doing, even.
Right.
And
give us your side of the story.
Just email me. Tell us what you want to tell us. Maybe you tell us, I don't even want to talk about this, or this, but I do want to address this one thing. Hey, it's a platform. We'll let you. But we get to retort.
Absolutely.
But we keep it clean too, and we would with the guests. So you guys, thank you for joining us.
Professional with them.
Yeah. And then until next time, be safe, earn smart, and I'll even add in the work hard. It's going to take some hard work right now. It's not just as easy as calling it in anymore. And you can't, if you're like, well, it's just too oversaturated today, I'm not going to work. If you find yourself in too many of those days, then you're not making money and you need to make a pivot. I don't know what that pivot is. I don't know where you live. I don't know your market. So, and even if I did, I don't know that I could help you, but you might just always, even if it's just other apps, be looking at other things, even if you're not ready to do it. Always have your eyes open. There's not a lot. The W-2 world is a mess, but there's opportunities out there sometimes, and you might miss them if you're not looking. So, with that said, guys, good night. Be good to each other, and we'll see you back here next time. Peace, y'all.